My name is Bob Gersh with East Coast Capital, and today's topic is credit reports and letters of explanation related to those reports. So let's dive right in. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, email me, contact me through the various sources. And again, it's Bob Gersh with East Coast Capital, and we can go over the details that relate to your particular situation. The phone number, 352-561-3096. So, credit reports. Well, if you're going to get a mortgage, we are going to pull credit. So as a disclosure up front, if you're talking to us and we discuss moving forward with the question asked, can we pull credit? And you answer yes, you'd like us to pull credit, then we will pull credit. Now, a suggestion that I make for everyone, the practical suggestion, is that prior to looking to refinance a mortgage, prior to getting pre-approved to buy a new house, I would suggest that you pull your own credit from the credit bureaus and other sources. You can get a free copy of your credit report. Now, it may or may not, depending on what particular report you pull, have a credit score, but it will have details of credit information. So that would be my first step, is for you to get your own report, review it. So then when we have an initial discussion, either refinancing or purchasing a new property, you already know what's on your report. You may have an idea what your credit scores are. Depending on the type of mortgage you're looking for, it may be relevant as to what scores will qualify for you, what kind of program. Now, there are some programs, such as a home equity conversion mortgage, known as a reverse mortgage, where we're not using the credit score, but we are looking at the report. So let's get into when we look at a report. Now, if you don't have a copy of the report already, we can pull one and then provide you with a copy of that report. And what we want to look at when we're actually looking at the report is we want to look at, are there any highlights on the report? Is it that everything's being paid timely? Are there any significant items that are not listed on the report, such as you have a private mortgage and they're not reporting to the credit bureau? Well, that's important that we be able to get that information tied to the credit report so that we can be able to have you take advantage of positive things such as timely payments for a period of time on a mortgage or other major items. But we want to look at, so we're looking at first what's not on the report, but then we're looking at what is on the report. And especially these days, and I'm talking right now in June of 2020, where we have certain limitations, including certain provisions which have been good for some folks, where they have been able to defer making payments on a mortgage or other major items. The report may indicate that the payments are deferred. Well, are they being deferred? Have you made up those payments? Are you making current payments? Check and see how the bureaus, the credit bureaus, are reporting this to make sure it's accurate. Now, if you're not making payments and you're looking for further credit, be aware that that can be an issue that may need to start making payments. You should contact us so we can give you exact clarification, so there's no guessing. And it may be that for a certain time period, and that can be for anywhere from 2 months to a year, depending on what you deferred and when you started paying it, and which of our lenders are going to provide you with new credit as to what the rules are of the game. But basically, we need to make sure that what's on your report is accurate to what you're doing. And if you are involved in any kind of deferral or any kind of non-payment for any reason, be it that you are just late on a item, we need what they call letter of explanation. This is a letter that you write to whom it may concern and submit it to us, sign it, date it, and give as much detail as possible. And if there are any backup documentation, it could be that you did not make certain payments because of, I'm in the hospital sick, I'm at home sick, I just lost my job, I won't be receiving any income because I am put on deferment from that job for a month, too, but I'm back now. Whatever the explanation is, we need explanation letters covering it. And if they relate, we want to look at the time period. So because someone was late a year ago on their auto loan, doesn't have anything to do with something that happened currently. So I got to make sure the time periods tie in, and then an explanation. If you were laid off from work and there was no choice but therefore to pay what you could pay, but you needed your job to pay your payments, an explanation letter detailing who you worked for, where you worked, who's the contact person, all the details regarding what that job is, so it can be re-verified if required. And basically to be able to explain, because of that lack of a paycheck, I could not make the following payments. That as soon as my job started again, I basically started making those payments. So the more explanation, basically I spent 2 months in my house confined, and at the end of 2 months, I don't have a marriage anymore. Reality does set in certain cases, and that could therefore affect your financial situation. So the letters of explanation provided to us with that credit report, and either we pulled the credit report or you pulled one and then we pulled one on our end to re-verify information. Very important that that package of information be provided to us as a potential lender to review it, to make sure all pieces are there. So when it's provided to a processor and an underwriter, they can understand that, yes, there was an automobile loan with 2 lates. Since subsequently ties into not receiving pay during that time period, now you've caught up, made your payments timely, and we have a full explanation of what happened. So that kind of like covers situations that are in the report. Also, there may be items on your credit report as a last item I'd like to go over today, is that your credit report may have items that happened a number of years ago. They may have resulted in a lawsuit. They may have resulted in an attachment. They may have resulted in just a number of situations that are on there that before doing anything about those situations, I suggest you talk to appropriate professionals. Maybe it's your accountant, your CPA, financial advisor, tax person, your loan officer, various other parties may be appropriate to discuss where you currently stand, what happened in the past. Not only will we look for an explanation letter with all the details, but we would want to know and discuss and come up with a plan as to how you're handling that item. Could be that that may affect the title on a property. Could be that it could have other ramifications towards your credit. May affect if you have, let's say, a car loan and you've had it for, and it's a 7-year payment, 7-year lease or loan, which doesn't matter, but whatever. and you haven't made payments on it. Well, you may find that the actual car loan, you know, the car was destroyed in an accident, and you know the insurance was supposed to pay things off, but somehow something got amiss or didn't get recorded. So we want to look at any kind of issue that may have an effect. Also want to look at, basically, there may be something that's on your credit on the flip side that is being paid timely, but therefore affects your ratios, if that's relevant, in determining how much you could qualify for in a mortgage, or to determine if a set aside is needed on a reverse mortgage. Maybe that car loan is a loan you have with another party, and that party is making the payments, and they've made it for over a year, made it timely, and we can document all the information regarding that and prove that that should not be part of your personal ratio. I had situations where someone is required to use a credit card, and the credit card is in that person's name, but the whole program is provided by their employer, and could be significant dollars that are being charged and paid, all related to the business. I had one situation where related to a card and some very expensive, because the person was on the road, quote unquote, for their employer. And the employer required that they pay certain expenses, which are truly business expenses. It's one thing to fill a car up with gas, and it may be that the employer is paying for that, and therefore that should not be something that should be related to the individual directly. But let's say it's even bigger. It's a huge plane, and you're required to, as the pilot, pay for the gas. Otherwise, you can't leave that international airport, wherever it is in the world. So you hand over your credit card and it's paid, but now we get this large amount that's flowing in and out of your credit card account. How should that be affected by the underwriter to determine what's your credit and what cash in and cash out needs to be charged to you? That's something which is very relevant. I have situations where that can occur, and therefore you want to make sure that we've had enough documentation, letters of explanation from the borrower, letter of explanation from the employer, just to back the whole thing up with contact information so it can be re-verified. So those are kind of items that are on a credit report. So although a credit report could determine to be just a score, it could also relate to as a way of determining what are those payments that you do have to make every month. Auto loan, maybe it's a mortgage payment, maybe it's rent, and rent usually is not on the credit report, but sometimes things like that do appear. You want to basically be able to go through all of them to figure out what is the debt side of how much you're paying out every month. So we use the credit report to verify that information on that. And then you have things like student loans, and we should talk if that becomes the issue. It could be deferred. How much are we charging? Calculate to charge based on how much is owed. What if that's being deferred? How do we calculate it then? So we get a lot of questions, but that's why we have discussions. So that gives you a bunch of the different primary reasons why we look at credit reports and how that ties into the whole picture of obtaining a mortgage. So if you're interested in talking further, have a client who needs to go over these items further, be it that you are a realtor, be it you're a financial advisor, tax person, or just have a client or yourself are looking for refinancing or buying that next home, feel free to contact me and we can go over more details and get you the answers to be able to move forward. And again, it's Bob Gersh with East Coast Capital and my phone number in the office. And you can get me anytime. 352-561-3096, Bob Gersh, East Coast Capital. And again, 352-561-3096. Hope you're well, hope your family is okay. And anything we can do for you at all in the mortgage area or anything else, feel free to give me a call. Be happy to refer you to the right person, if not provide the information that you need. And we are affiliated with a lot of networking type groups here in Florida, in Central Florida, and the villages and surrounding areas. Some are in person, and some, and most of them right now, are virtual. But we do meet and have contacts. So if I can't answer the question directly, I probably can come up with a name or number of who you can contact for the answer, whatever it happens to be, and I'll be happy to do so. So we're here to serve, and hopefully see you around that closing table in the very near future. If you're looking to purchase a new home, refinance, or at this point, just figure out what's what within your finances. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.